We do survive. Okay. But the wildfire is adding up. Oh, YouTube, today we're going to be using a recreation of the top 8 EUIC team piloted by Javier Valdez, featuring a Blastoise and Weezing, and the only team that didn't feature an Incineroar in the top 8 of EUIC. This team looks really cool, and there was a lot of hype about players bringing Weezing to the event and how Weezing would be a really good call. And there was actually, in fact, one Weezing that did make top 8 here, and I'm really curious on how it works because Zacian Dialga double steal restricted. We know how powerful this duo has been before, but it hasn't really broken out at tournaments. But yeah, it has made it into the top 8 of EUIC, and then the Blastoise with Weezing looked like a really cool combination against Rinya's Sun. Let's see how it's going to go, though. If you do enjoy the videos, be sure to leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, rate us, help me out. If you want to check out the details of the team and the creator down below in the description. But let's get started and play some games. Kyogre, Kartana, Zacian, Regieleki, Whimsicott, and Barraskewda. Okay, this is a unique here for sure. There's definitely some options that I'm not exactly a big fan of. However, Rillaboom plus Porygon, I don't know how they really stop Trick Room here. Yeah, Trick Room looks really tough for them to actually handle, so I really do like the Rillaboom Porygon lead here. A Blastoise, unfortunately, I don't think is it, but I definitely do really like the Dialga in the back because it's really strong against my opponent's team. Weezing could be pretty good. I'm also considering Zacian here. I think Zacian is fantastic here for a late game cleanup. This matchup just looks really strong. I mean, against Hyper Offense, the Rillaboom fake out lead here just really stops anything from really hitting. Well, just Porygon Trick Room stuff looks good in general. I don't really see their answers to really Trick Room because with Rillaboom, I think this is the important part. With Rillaboom, you can just like Grassy Glide like a Kyogre lead if they lead Barraskewda to like overpower the Porygon. If they lead anything else, I don't know how to really stopping it. Gonna be the Zacian and the Kartana here. Okay. I guess they could crit max Overgrow here into my Porygon. That's the way they could stop Trick Room. I do have Flamethrower on my on my Dialga, which is actually pretty funny. So that actually could really come into play upcoming. But yeah, we're gonna go for a fake out easily into the Zacian slot, and we're gonna go for a Trick Room with the Porygon. And yeah, I mean, I just don't really see a reason not to go for that. So we'll fake out. We'll go for a Trick Room here. This should be a pretty fantastic matchup for Flamethrower Dialga. Yeah, Flamethrower and Dialga, very rare here, but it's really useful for Pokemon that this team probably doesn't enjoy, which is specifically Kartana and Fairforn, Grass Steel types. We're going to see the Dynamax coming out, which Zacian cannot Dynamax, so it has to be the Kartana right here. All right, so just don't crit Overgrow and we're fine. If they go for Knuckle, that's a-okay by me. If you take the knock on Rillaboom, that's fine. If you go for Steel Spike, whatever, that doesn't really help too much. All right, so let's see. We're gonna get a fake out into the Zacian right here. Good chip right here, and we're gonna see what from the Kartana gonna be that Max Knuckle. So they are setting up immediately, which does make a lot of sense here. Into the Porygon. Porygon gonna be able to take that comfortably and get that Trick Room up. And yeah, we want to make sure that Sacred Sword or Close Combat, whatever they really want to dish out, wasn't going to affect the Porygon right here. Trick Room going to go up, and really I'm just going to go for high horsepower and a foul play. I don't care if I lose both of these Pokemon. I think I just get a free switch to my Dialga, and it really does kind of clean up shop right here. So I'm just going to go for a high horsepower into the Zacian slot and a foul play. With the +2, I might, with high horsepower, depending on the Zacian's bulk, might be able to pick up the knock on the Zacian, which would be fantastic. If they protect Zacian, I just get the free switch into my Dialga, which is, of course, really threatening to them overall, especially with that max flare option, which they might not be expecting. We're going to see a foul play come out into the Dialga, though. Hopefully some really good damage there. That's some pretty solid damage. The high horsepower probably is not finishing off the Zacian. It looks decently bulky right here. High horsepower does miss a knockout into the Zacian. Okay. An Airstream coming out into the Rillaboom. I guess that's another way you could take the knockouts. That actually hurts them more though, which is funny. The reason why it hurts them more is because now I don't have to worry about my Zacian being like faster than their Zacian, which means their Zacian could have got like a +2 or +3 Sacred Sword potential, and I might have been forced to target down the Dialga or into the Zacian. But yeah, this ends up working out perfectly. We are going to see a Sacred Sword come out into the Porygon. It is going to be able to pick up the knock on the Porygon. However, really strong position for me right here, as I can go out into my old Zacian right here, as well as my Dialga. They don't have Intimidate, and this is the position I wanted. Dialga under Trick Room with the max flare to threaten the Kartana. And oh boy, I don't know if they're gonna expect it. Maybe they go Kyogre for the Zacian slot. They could go for that. I'm just going to double up the Cortana because most Cortanas in the format do run the Assault Vest item. It's really rare that they would have a max guard here option on the Cortana, and I really don't expect it, especially since we saw that airstream from earlier. So let's go for that max flare into the Cortana and Sacred Sword, just in case Kyrie switches in and then the Cortana actually does live max flare, which I'd be kind of shocked if it did. I guess Dynamax Assault Vest plus the Fang would be okay, but yeah, I didn't think they would go for Protects. Maybe the Zacian will, but I don't think the Cortana is. And if it doesn't, I just pick up the Knockout and then really good spot to just like go for damage the following turn. So Dynamax on the Dialga on deck here. No eject button can also be procced here, which is really important, which is why I didn't want to lead like the Dialga immediately, even if like Dialga Rillaboom could have been an option. Was exactly the best. We're gonna see the Zacian Protect, so we will be getting that max flare up and then say goodbye to your Cortana. Say goodbye to your Cortana. Max Flare gonna come out, and this was a super safe play. Otherwise, I might have had to make an aggressive read and go for like a Max Dragon or Max Steel Spike plus Sacred Sword into Cortana, which might have KO'd, maybe not. It really just depended on the Cortana's EVs, but yeah, able to knock out the Cortana right there. Fantastic, and Sacred Sword does go into the Zacian's Protect. And the Zacian, yeah, you're +2 attack and +1 speed, but you are threatened by every single attack that I can really dish out here, and you don't have a ground resist if I'm not mistaken, so Max Quake is pretty free into the Zacian slot, and Whimsicott going to be revealed here. Okay, Whimsicott could be a little bit awkward depending on its full moves here, but yeah, we go for Behemoth Blade into the Whimsicott. We're going to go for a Max Quake into the Zacian. Yep. As we want to start boosting up for the Kyogre, we go for the Behemoth Blade into the Whimsicott here. I wonder if Whimsicott has Reverse Trick Room. That's might be what they're attempting here. Oh no, they just go for Fake Tears. Okay, we're fine. Okay, so Fake Tears is going to come out to Dialga. We are able to get a Max Quake off into the Zacian here, which is fantastic. We are going to be able to pick up the knock on the Zacian. Thankfully, it didn't get the double because we're able to get some. Actually, if they got the double, I think I was still in a fine spot. I think the only way that like it hurt me was Reverse Trick Room, or they sacked the Kyogre there, I guess. Or go in a Kyogre in the following turn and save their Dialga. I guess maybe it's better than I KO the Zacian. If they stayed in the next turn, then I think it was fine. But yeah, being able to get rid of the big offensive threat right there is really great. We are going to be able to upcoming turn, what do I want to go for? I feel like Max Flare is always the play here into the Whimsicott here and just to protect with my Zacian. Setting up the Sun, the Kyogre can't Dynamax, so it'll be stuck in Sun, and it can't freeze me for a win con. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, so the Kyogre does come in, because like the thing is, I could go for a Max Quake again, and then what they could do is they could crit me in with Rain, and that would definitely KO my Zacian right here. So I'd rather just go for the Protect here. It prevents any shenanigans, and I'm gonna go for a Max Flare into the Whimsicott. Pick up the knock on Whimsicott even if it protects, and then be able to clean up the Kyogre in Sunlight, because I'd be able to get Sacred Sword off. My Dialga should still be pretty comfortable. Even if it goes down to -3, I should be like really okay right there. And yeah, able to seal up the game, and Max Flare Dialga really putting in the work against that Cortana. It looked really tough for them. Again, once Trick Room got up, I knew what my game plan was. Could have been a little bit scary though, depending on their Zacian. I imagine it's going to be a faster Zacian, and maybe a faster, bulkier Zacian. But the fact is, Airstream actually just made it so much easier for me to make some safe plays. They were able to get double knockouts. I think they had like multiple ways to get double knockouts though. Another Max Knuckle into the Porygon plus a Behemoth Blade, but into the Rillaboom, but maybe they were scared of like Porygon going for the recover, surviving the attack. But I don't think it really changed much with Porygon on the field. But overall, really strong showcasing and able to really just power through that team under the Trick Room, even though the Dialga doesn't have much bulk. Palkia, Incineroar, Zacian, Indeedee, Porygon 2, and Amoonguss. Alright, I don't know if this is Trick Room. It probably is with Palkia, Porygon 2, and Amoonguss with a bunch of redirection, although it could be just a life or fast Palkia and then bluffing the Trick Room route, or just having Trick Room against fast offensive things like Tailwind. Let me see. Dialga, of course, is really good against Palkia and Zacian, so I definitely want to bring the Dialga. The only problem is Porygon 2 could be a little bit of a nuisance because of the Eerie Impulse threat that it does usually carry here. I do like my Weezing here because they don't really have the best ways to handle Weezing, especially with Taunt Pressure. Like, Indeedee is actually one of the few Pokemon that can actually do well against it. So I do like the Weezing here. I don't know if I really like Rillaboom. I'd say probably not. My Dynamax option is probably going to be Dialga, so I don't think I need Blastoise here in this matchup. Although maybe it could do some things. I do kind of like the Zacian here for sure, and I do kind of like the Wheezing here. I don't think this is a bad lead at all. I think it's pretty strong here. I definitely want to bring Dialga as a Dynamax in the back. I want to set up for it instead of leading it right away because my opponent has to like a lot of redirection. That could maybe just slow down my Dialga from picking up knockouts into slots I want. And then the final Pokemon here. It's either Porygon 2 or Blastoise here. Kind of leaning towards Blastoise. Fake out pressure is not bad here. I do like the Hydro Cannon just for the Incineroar, which I think is pretty good here. I think Porygon 2 is just not that great in this matchup. It doesn't really do much damage here. Kind of gets walled by the Amoonguss and the Indeedee as well. Foul Play doesn't do that much damage. So Rillaboom could have been a thing. Grassy Glide would have been pretty nice pressure, but otherwise, I don't think I really need it. So let's see how this is going to go. We're going to see Palkia Amoonguss lead. Okay. The Palkia Amoonguss leads against my Zacian and my Wheezing right here. Not exactly the best lead for me. It really depends on if they have Trick Room or not. I do kind of just want to go for the taunt here immediately if I can. I wouldn't mind going for that here. I could also go into Blastoise here for fake out later on, but I just don't think it's necessary. I'm pretty sure Wheezing lives any attack from the Palkia barring the Max Geyser Life Orb set. So I think I want to try to sub here turn 1 with the Zacian. And I think I'm going to just try to taunt the Palkia. Do I want to taunt the Palkia or the Amoonguss? I think it's the Amoonguss. Let's see here, though. I will see what my opponent decides to do. There's going to be a Dynamax coming out right away from the Palkia. Now, I think no matter what happens, if this is a Max Dragon Wheezing, I think this is okay. I got a taunt into Amoonguss. I can't really do much. The Palkia's already used up its Dynamax, so my Dialga in the back can really go in against the team, I feel like, as long as I position it correctly. So the Palkia does go for the Dynamax here. And let's see, Rage Powder is just going to come out. Okay, scared of the Play Rough, which makes a lot of sense here. It's why I decided to go for that substitute immediately, as we will set up the sub. We will protect our Zacian from taking a really strong Max Quake or a Max Geyser right here. Gonna be a Max Quake, does target down the Zacian slot, so that's pretty nice. They do get a special defense boost, but I don't think this is too bad. I am able to get the Zacian into a pretty comfortable position, I want to say. It is, yeah. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Behemoth Blade can knock out the Amoonguss. I don't know if I really want to go for that. It is Life Orb on the Palkia. Okay, good to know. It's also not min speed at all, so I am able to get a taunt off into the Amoonguss. All right, so it's Mental Herb Amoonguss. All right, so that could be a little bit something right here. I do kind of want to go for a taunt again. That's actually kind of concerning that it's actually the Life Orb full FS Palkia, because yeah, I think I could go for a taunt here, and I could go for a I could go for the taunt sub. It's pretty safe because even if they target down the Wheezing, they could Spore. Doesn't matter here. I kind of want to protect the Wheezing here. You know what? I might protect the Wheezing here. I might make the aggressive play. Oh, I really want to make the aggressive play and just protect instead of taunting. But you know what? I am going to actually just go for the taunt. I think taunt's just safer. I think taunt is just safer into the Amoonguss. Let's see how this works. We will go for the sub again. No Rage Powder, so I'm assuming they're going to just try to go for the Spore again. And again, I'm completely fine because I do protect my... Oh, they went for a Max Quick into my Wheezing, so that's perfect. I do have my Shuckle Berry intact. So they really just try and set for the Dialga, but this works out huge for me. I'm able to get a taunt off into the Amoonguss. Max Quake. A lot of damage. That's actually a lot more damage than I was anticipating. But okay. Thought I would take it a little bit better, but I would live a Pollen Pup double up if they decide to do that with Amoonguss. And basically, the Palkia really hasn't accomplished much, so I'm pretty happy about this. I am able to get a taunt off into the Amoonguss, and now the Amoonguss can't protect. It can't really do much here. It does attempt to go for the Spore here, and yeah, I think now I can just go for that Behemoth Blade into the Amoonguss. I'm going to do a lot of damage, and there's no reason to protect the Wheezing because Wheezing goes down through a max move to protect anyway, so I might as well just go for the Sludge Bomb and a Behemoth Blade here into the Amoonguss. I don't think they swap Harden and Incineroar. They could, but I don't think it's really something that they want to commit to. So I'm just going to go for Behemoth Blade plus Sludge Bomb because it might KO the Amoonguss depending on its EV spread. I am really happy about this turn though. If I did go for that Protect earlier, it would have been pretty devastating. The Shuckle Berry... what has exactly been the best for me? Oh wait, I am at neutral attack, so I'm definitely not KOing the Amoonguss. Although this is okay. Behemoth Blade gonna come out into the Amoonguss. Because next turn I could probably just get in my Dialga right here and then start going for attacks. We are able to go for the Behemoth Blade here. Do a lot less to the Amoonguss. I guess that's just the fact that I am not +1. A Max Dragon is gonna come out into the Wheezing. Okay. So Max Dragon going to be fired off into Wheezing is going to Pick up the knock on the Weezing. Does get an attack drop, but I'm about to get it right back with the Interpret Sword. Okay. Blastoise could come out here, which I am kind of leaning towards, or I don't know. Dialga is not a bad play, but Dialga doesn't accomplish much here. They do go for an energy ball. Okay. Into the Zacian. That's fine. It doesn't break my sub. I can go out into my Blastoise here, I think. Yeah, I think I'd rather just go into Blastoise. The thing is, if I'm not KOing the Amoonguss with another Behemoth Blade, there's really no point of doing anything with it. So Blastoise can just come in. I can go for a Helping Hand Behemoth Blade to KO the Amoonguss. The thing is, Palkia, of course, can go for whatever it really wants to here. But yeah, I think it's just a fine play to go for the Helping Hand Behemoth Blade here. I don't really see much of a downside to it. I could also just fake out the Amoonguss and just get a Sacred Sword off into Palkia. Actually, that might be better, because I get a lot of damage into Palkia, and then I could set up a sub the following turn. Although this is the last turn of Amoonguss' taunt, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I'm not exactly the biggest fan. Although it's not too bad of a play here. You know, I would like to damage though if I can. You know what? I'm gonna say, actually no, I am gonna go for Helping Hand Behemoth Blade. I think I want to KO an Amoonguss. I think. Yeah, I'm gonna go for the Helping Hand Behemoth Blade. I don't want the Energy Ball in the Blastoise. I don't think it really makes much sense here. Again, I'm thinking Dialga can really just sweep through my opponent's team if I do position it right. And Palkia protects, excellent. So they were really fearing maybe a fake out here and an attack into the Palkia. But I am able to KO the Amoonguss here, and that's a fantastic position because I still have my Zacian behind the substitute, which is fantastic here. It's able to absorb one attack here, and I do have a Helping Hand Behemoth Blade that can make up for the damage output. And let's see what the next Pokemon is going to be coming out here, because Amoonguss is gone. I could Dynamax the Blastoise if I really wanted. That is another option here, and it isn't a bad option either. I'm able to get like a huge Cannade off. I'd be able to like get the residual damage into the Zacian. Wouldn't be a bad position at all. I could also go for a Helping Hand Sacred Sword. It really just depends. If it's Zacian, I really got some thinking to do, because Helping Hand Behemoth Blade seems tempting. I really do like the idea of going for the Cannade here too, because a Life Orb Cannade is going to do a lot to the Zacian, and also probably helps out against the Incineroar in the back too. I could also go for a Hydro Cannon into a Behemoth Blade into the Zacian slot, which is also a pretty fair play here. I don't think the Palkia is Trick Room at this rate. Incineroar comes in. That's interesting here. Okay, Incineroar coming out here doesn't really do anything for my opponent, I feel. I really don't think it does. I think actually what I'm gonna do here then is I'm gonna protect the Zacian, and I'm gonna go for the Cannade here into the Incineroar. Yeah, if they go into Incineroar, I don't know what they're trying to do here. Maybe a fake out, maybe they go for Parting Shot. I could go for the Hydro Cannon here and a Sacred Sword into Palkia. That's not a bad play here, but I'm thinking, okay, if they can't really do much damage to my Blastoise, especially through Dynamax, then why not just take the KO onto the Incineroar? I still have Dialga in the back with a Roar of Time, which can really just put on the pressure against Palkia. I have the sub up with my Zacian, and Cannade damage is gonna like chip away at the Zacian once it plays defensively. They can't really switch out into anything unless they have Protect on the Incineroar, so I think this is just a really strong position. We will protect our Zacian. And let's see, because if they do target the sub on Zacian, I think this is better. Spatial Rend into the Blastoise. Okay. Oh, that did a bit more than I was hoping for. Okay. But I am able to get the Cannade damage off, which is really important. So Incineroar goes down. It's still not a bad spot, though, because I think in order to knock out the Blastoise, I'm like pretty sure. I want to say they have to double up the Blastoise in order to pick up the knockout. And see, yeah, if they double up the Blastoise here, then I get two Behemoth Blades off into the Zacian. So I think that's okay. We will see their Zacian come out. All right. Ooh, I guess this could be a little bit concerning. Maybe I could go for a max guard play here. I think just going, yeah, I think it's okay here. I'm going to Behemoth Blade their Zacian, and I want to say it's max guard. They saw that I'm Life Orb on the Blastoise, so I really think they want to get rid of it, especially with my Zacian only being at neutral. It's not like getting the KO right here on anything. Ooh, they could protect Zacian, and I think also just to protect also really helps out here. I think it might have to be a double in the Blastoise with the command too, but we'll see. I do max guard with my Blastoise. I am the fastest option, so I am able to get Behemoth Blade off, which is really nice because even if this doesn't two-shot on its own, I think it will just put it into candidate range, and they really have to double exhaustion here in order to have a shot. So yeah, that damage is beautiful right here. Let's see what they decide to go for. It's going to be Behemoth Blade. They do target down the Blastoise, fantastic here, and we're going to see a Earth Power also double up in the Blastoise. Yeah, all right. So they were really afraid of the Blastoise, and yeah, again, the Blastoise was just putting on so much pressure here. Now I can pretty much just go for Behemoth Blade. I'm pretty sure they're going to be adamant unless we speed tie with exhaustions, which would be pretty rare here. I could go for the Cannonade. Cannonade to protect might pick up the knock-on exhaustion here. I could also max strike here, and I think max strike is actually pretty solid. I'm going to max strike the Palkia. I know that max strike is a pretty strong option here because A, if they protect here, avoids this speed tie game. I guess if they protect the following turn, and I think just like A, or B, just being able to outspeed the Palkia with my Dialga afterward and click that roar time. This might come down to, do I hit roar time? Although I might be able to get a few Sacred Swords off before that, we'll see. But I do really like this position here. I think Blastoise just putting in a ton of work for this end game right here. I don't really see their answers, and it looks like there's no protect on the board here, so I am going to be able to get a Behemoth Blade off. I didn't think they would target exhaustion either, because like exhaustion wasn't really threatening too much damage as we saw, but yeah, being able to outspeed their team and get this two-shot here with the Cannonade damage, which was so important right here compared to like Blastoise, which could have just picked up a knockout into their exhaustion, especially with the Cannonade damage. And yeah, the Spatial Rend, not able to pick up the knockout. I am able to get a max strike off into the Palkia, and that's basically a good game at this point. Being able to go for 2 Sacred Swords because I am behind a Substitute. I still have a Blastoise that's still very available right here. I also have my Dialga just way in the back, and it's crazy how I was talking about how Dialga was really good in this entire matchup, but the fact that I'd even have to bring it up just shows how strong the combination of like the Wheezing setup with the taunt to prevent the Amoonguss from going for any shenanigans with like the Spore Rage Powder, the fact that I was able to KO the Amoonguss early on, which was the Redirection Mon in this format. So yeah, just being able to like really I was just positioning for a Dialga end game, but I ended up seeing another opportunity with the Blastoise, and I thought, you know what, why not take it? Even though Spatial Rend did so much more damage to my Blastoise than expected, I guess that's the power of life for Palkia. But yeah, able to really just power through this matchup. The Cannonade damage was fantastic in this option, and I think the big turn again was catching that max guard right there, and also the fact that they went for the max quake. I don't know if they were expecting the focus sash on it, which makes sense. They were trying to set up the max quakes for the Dialga. Being able to survive, I think, the attack from the Palkia because it didn't go for like a max geyser or a max dragon, because they probably thought I was focus sashing setting up the max quakes for the Dialga, because again, their team was really weak to Dialga. I felt it was fantastic for me overall. I was able to basically get rid of the Amoonguss, which was the redirection mon. Could have been a little bit annoying, especially with spores, and the Dialga would have really been able to clean up in the end game. And then I just took the opportunity with the Blastoise because I saw an opening and felt like it was in a pretty good spot, and Dialga could clean up in the end game even without Dynamax. Charizard, Lunala, Groudon, Tornadus Incarnate Form, Venusaur, and Incineroar. All right, so pretty much a standard Lunadon team, except Tornadus is an interesting addition to this team. I guess it'd be probably maybe Tailwind, maybe potentially Heat Wave for just in case to have a fire move and maybe potentially set up the Sun once again. This is a matchup I'm kind of curious about because Sun, of course, against Double Steel isn't exactly the best matchup here, but we are going to try. We do have a Weezing though, which is fantastic in this matchup. Weezing plus Blastoise could go really in against my opponent's team. The only factor is that Venusaur can make this a little bit tricky and a bit harder for me. So I could go with the Porygon route. Porygon's not a bad Pokemon here either. Porygon Weezing is actually really tempting, or Porygon Blastoise here. I actually really don't like Zacian too much. It doesn't do that much damage overall. Is it crazy to me that I don't think any of my restricted Pokemon exactly do well here? But I think I have to bring one anyway because I think Venusaur is just going to be too hard to handle otherwise. I think I'm going to go with Porygon for sure. I think Porygon is very effective here. Unless it's Taunt on one of these Pokemon, but otherwise I should be good. I think Porygon plus Weezing should be pretty solid as a lead. In the back, I definitely want the Blastoise here. And I really want Rillaboom for the Groudon, but I'm going to try out Zacian, I guess, because I feel like the Venusaur is just a bit too problematic overall. I have no idea how this is gonna go. I could see like a lot of things happening, but I think Eerie Impulse Porygon with Trick Room is just so good against my opponent's team overall. I don't know if they're gonna bring the Lunala for Trick Room. It's not bad against my team. They're definitely bringing the Groudon, I think. I think they're bringing the Charizard and Venusaur. I just don't know. Maybe Charizard, Venusaur lead here, as it's Charizard, Groudon lead. Okay, that's not too bad for me, because I don't think they can knock out my Porygon immediately. So I lead my Porygon plus my Weezing here. Neutralizing gas is going to prevent my opponent from getting the sun or solar power here effective. And now I could go for a Trick Room here, and I can go for a pretty safe Protect, I think, or I could go for the Will-O-Wisp here. I don't know how fast this Groudon is, but I don't think I want to risk it right here. I'd rather just go for the Protect here with my Weezing, and then Will-O-Wisp the following turn. Then next turn, I could go for like an Eerie Impulse into Charizard and slow it down. The only problem is I could definitely see them doubling into the Porygon slot here with a Max Wildfire, but Protect is an interesting move. I wonder if they're like suspecting something from the Porygon, like if it was a really offensive Porygon here. But a Protect is fantastic for me, as I am able to protect myself. A Precipice Blade's going to be fired off from the Groudon right here. I'll definitely take this. This is a good turn for me. We're going to see that Precipice Blades come out into my Porygon. That does a lot of damage. Okay, it's a critical hit. I was about to say that's so much damage. That really should have not done as much damage as it did. I do get to the Trick Room off, and this is a pretty good position because my Weezing's actually pretty slow. This Groudon has to be like really slow, like a minus speed nature here, and I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think I'm just going to Eerie Impulse to Charizard, and I'm going to go for that Will-O-Wisp into the Groudon to slow it down. And yeah, if I can slow down these Pokemon and set up for Blastoise, I think this is a phenomenal spot because they can't really break through the Porygon, assuming I land the Will-O-Wisp onto the Groudon at least. The crit actually, oh, the crit could be really bad though, because I don't know if I survive Wildfire into Blades into a Wildfire chip here, because I feel like if it was not a crit, I think I would guarantee survive it, right? But now I have to hit the Will-O-Wisp first. Or they switch out, which is cool, to Incineroar. Yeah, that makes sense here. That definitely makes sense here. Okay, Incineroar comes out. I am okay with that. Eerie Impulse. Charizard actually just didn't Dynamax here. I'm curious on what they're going for then. All right, so I do get an Eerie Impulse into the Charizard. Willis does go out into the Incineroar slot, as we're going to see a Hurricane into what was the Weezing. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's a pretty unique situation here, I guess. Oh, that's a unique situation. I'm going to go Blastoise here and protect my Weezing here. Or should I taunt? I feel like taunting is not a bad situation here because the protect might be really obvious. The Charizard is... Yeah, I'm going to taunt, actually. They can't even knock out my Weezing even if they go for Fake Out plus Wildfire, and I don't know if that's going to be the case. They could go for a Parting Shot attempt, which I'm okay with, I think. Overall, I think just getting the Blastoise in, and if I can deny Parting Shot, would be pretty good because now I can spam a Cannade, I think, afterward, especially if they go for like a Fake on a Porygon. So let's see if this is the case. They could go for the Parting Shot immediately. I wouldn't mind that. Let's find out if that's going to be the case. Charizard actually hard retreats here. Perfect. Okay, into the Groudon once again. All right. I wonder what's this going to be from the Incineroar. Taunt goes off into the Incineroar before it attacks. So if it's a Parting Shot, this is perfect. If it's Flare Blitz, it's okay. It is going to be the Flare Blitz. It looks like probably targeting down my Blastoise. No, it's into my Weezing. Okay, I'll take it. This is a really good turn now. And I mean a really good turn. Okay, fantastic. I can go for like quite a few things. I could fake out the... I could just fake out the Incineroar. I could go for a Will-O-Wisp into the into the Groudon. I could go for... I have so many options here. I'm just... they don't have a Cannade switch in, which is a really important part. And yeah, like only Venusaur can really switch in. So I think this is the perfect time to go for that Cannade here. And I think I really do want to go for that Wisp here into the Groudon. Even if I lose Weezing and they get the Sun Up, I KO their Incineroar, I get the Groudon burn, and I get like a huge amount of Cannade damage off. I think that's a pretty good trade-off because then I could bring out like my Porygon once again, recover the damage off, and then threaten the change the weather with like Hailstorm. So yeah, this looks fantastic. We're gonna see the Incineroar switch out, which is perfect too. Into Lunala, I'll definitely take this right here. All right, so Lunala comes out here. Could be a double swap or a Dynamax from the ground. If they Dynamax Groudon, this is perfectly fine because I have Will-O-Wisp on deck here for the Groudon. So we will Dynamax our Blastoise and go for that Cannade. We break that Shadow Shield on Lunala. And we also have our Porygon that is still like pretty good against my opponent's team. I just got to watch out for late game Charizard. Late game Charizard could be really scary here. So we Dynamax our Blastoise. We're going to see the... Okay, nice. Will-O-Wisp does connect onto the Groudon right here. Fantastic. So that Groudon is now burned, and with the Shuckleberry we should be able to take any attack from the Weezing. We do go for the Cannonade here into the Lunala slot, which is a really good amount of damage with that life orb. That Cannonade damage is adding up, so their Dynamax Pokemon has to probably be the Charizard in the back, so this is perfectly fine. Precipice Blade's gonna come out, does connect with my Shuckleberry Weezing right here, gonna do a not really much damage at all. Fantastic, fantastic. Yep, Cannonade damage is adding up too with the burn as well. Ooh, this is a really good offensive position here. I'm really liking this spot. Now gotta think about these upcoming turns. I gotta make sure that the sun isn't up. I think last turn the Trick Room. I think this turn I go for a Hailstorm into the Groudon slot, and I think I hard swap into the Porygon. The main reason is I feel like, okay, so Lunala is really threatened right here. I don't think their Groudon's ever Dynamax here. They might just sacrifice the Groudon at this point because they don't have a switch into Cannonade at all, unless they want to go hard in Incineroar and potentially have sacked it, which that could be a little bit rough because that means they get a free switch to Charizard, but I think it's still potentially doable, especially if I keep the Weezing around. I still have neutralizing gas for the solar power, and I think that's like a pretty important tech right here that I do have an answer for the solar power. I think getting a Porygon to threaten another Trick Room is also pretty big as a factor here. And I really, by going for this Weezing switch, I activate the abilities, which means that their Drought activates and I can change the weather so they can't reset it unless Groudon survives all this residual damage or switches out here. Porygon going to come in, and let's see what my opponent is going to do. They do switch out to Groudon, so good play on their part. Incineroar? It is Incineroar. Although I don't think I mind that too much realistically. We'll see if that's going to be the case though. But Incineroar does come out. We do go for the Hailstorm right here, which will change the weather. I guess I could have just went for a Cannonade right here and maybe a Sludge Bomb, just knock out the Lunala right here. But Hailstorm does connect onto the Incineroar. I'm still getting pretty good residual damage overall. Let's see what the Lunala goes for. Maybe a Moongeist Beam into the Porygon slot or into the Blastoise, or maybe it's a Meteor Beam here. It's going to be a Meteor Beam. Okay, good play on their part. It covers the Porygon switch here and gets them their special attack boost. I guess if they survive the turn. I don't think they do with the Cannonade plus the Hail, but we'll see. A Meteor Beam is going to be charged up. All right. Oh, Porygon avoids. Pretty big survival there because Porygon would have been, I don't think it would have gone down, but it definitely would have been in range of any other attack, so that's still pretty nice here. This is looking pretty solid for the most part. The Cannonade is really adding up, does eliminate the Lunala. Okay, I really like endgame Zacian now. And I mean really like endgame Zacian. The Lunala does go down here. Trick Room does return to normal, but I basically have gotten like a really good capitalization, I think, under Trick Room. I just got to make sure I can sweep with I just got to make sure I can sweep my opponent correctly with my Zacian, because that's the big question. The Groudon is already burned and has taken quite a bit of chip damage. The Charizard Dynamax is the only thing I think that's like really scary in this spot. That's the only mon I'm like really terrified of. We are going to see the Charizard come out now. This is 2 plays here, I think, for my opponent. This is either, I think they have to like try to take the knockout on Porygon, right? I feel like the Groudon switches in and they go for a Wildfire here. That's like what I think. I feel like I always just go for Cannonade into the Charizard slot, and I always just attempt to go for Trick Room here. I'm just worried because I don't know if the Charizard item, if it's Life Orb, it could KO my Blastoise potentially here, which would not be ideal. I think my best play might actually just be to hard go out into the Weezing slot and go for Cannonade. Let's see if this works, but I'm not too sure. We are going to see the Incineroar hard swap. This is going to be into the Groudon. I don't know if they're going for the Airstream or if they're going to go for the Wildfire here. I think they're going to go for the Airstream because my only real big offensive threat under Trick Room is going to be like the Blastoise realistically. So I don't know if they're going to try to get rid of it here, which is why I'm going into Weezing. I'm going to get the neutralizing gas here. So hopefully I could survive this upcoming attack, but maybe it was better to get the Trick Room because I'm not gonna KO the I'm not gonna KO the Charizard. I don't have the Torn Boost either. Or maybe I should just Hailstormed. Oh, this one turn might have actually really determined the game right here. But if they do target down the Porygon slot, I feel like I'm in a fantastic spot regardless. Let's see. It's gonna be the Airstream does come out. Okay, let's see how. Oh, wait, it was into the Porygon slot? Oh, I should have just stayed in then. I think I should have stayed in with the Porygon then. Okay, we will get a pretty big Cannonade off into the Charizard. At least we still have the Torrent, which is actually really nice. And they're going to take Solar Power at the end of the day. Plus, this Cannonade damage is really racking up onto my opponent. So, I guess this isn't a terrible spot, but it's obviously not ideal. A good amount of damage in the Charizard, but it's definitely not enough here. And, oh, this endgame could get really tricky. Okay, that damage is, like, beautiful, by the way. Like, what's adding up into the Charizard slot. Wait, did we reveal the Life Orb on Charizard? I actually missed the recoil there if it did happen. Oh, boy. I feel like Porygon's always my play here. Yeah, Porygon's always my play. And I'm probably going to go for a Wildfire here, I'd imagine. I think it's a Wildfire coming out here. Do I Trick Room? Because I feel like Trick Room's a throw. If I Trick Room and they my Blastoise, I think it's a terrible spot for me. So I think my best play is to go for the Cannonade. Oh, I just got to make sure I can beat the Groudon Burned, which I don't know if I actually can. Ooh, tricky spot. Do I have to go for the Blizzard? I might have to. I think I have to. I think the Weezing play was not that great. I think I should have just... Because I thought they were going to just go for the Airstream and the Blastoise. Because I felt like the Incineroar actually pressured my team under Trick Room well enough. I think I have to go for the Blizzard here. I think I have to go for Blizzard and Foul Play. Let's see. A Wildfire probably KOs my Blastoise or my Porygon here. Let's find out if that's going to be the case. Because I need the Charizard eliminated this turn. If they go for Max Guard, it's not great, but it's probably still doable. They go for the Wildfire and the Blastoise, which is going to KO the Blastoise. Okay, makes sense. Oh, this is not looking good, actually. Hold on. I think I messed this end game up. Foul Play going to come out into the Charizard. Precipice Blades. This is burn, so it shouldn't KO. Yeah, I do survive. Recover, don't think was ever the play here. I needed the Foul Play damage to KO the Charizard. Critical hit, I don't think it mattered because there's one more turn of Cannonade plus the Solar Power. So yeah, Charizard was going to go down anyway. I just needed like a little bit of chip damage right there. So Charizard goes down. I mean, there's still burn and the Cannonade damage adding up, but I don't think it's enough because that was the last turn of Cannonade, if I'm not mistaken. A Porygon's still around, but this is just a fake out Blaze the next turn, right? Oh, I guess I didn't Airstream twice now that I think about it. Wait, this might still be fine. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. No, the Incineroar's at full, isn't it? Oh, wait, no, it's weakened. Okay, okay. I had a feeling like I got damage in the Incineroar earlier, and yeah, I did with the Hailstorm, so... Oh, this is actually a really close endgame now that I think about it. Okay. I thought they would Airstream, but since they Wildfire, that actually changes it quite a bit because if they got the second Airstream boost, the Groudon would have been able to outspeed my Zacian, but they might have thought I was going for Trick Room 2. This actually works out huge for me. So I can go for the Protect here with Zacian because they're going to go for Fake Out. I guess I'm just going to go for... Foul Play or Recover? I guess I Recover, right? Yeah, I would Recover here. They're going to Fake Out Zacian. They're probably just going to go for the Blades here. Or maybe an accurate move in a Porygon, I think, is pretty fair here. And then there has to be, like... The Groudon has to be either really fast or the Incineroar has to have Protect. Those are pretty much the outs here. Unless it's Choppable Incineroar, I guess. That could also be an out here. They do go for the Precipice Blades. If they miss, I think they just lose the game guaranteed here. They do hit, though. Okay. Oh, this is going to come down to the Groudon as well as the Zacian interactions because this... burn damage is also adding up too. Oh boy. Yeah, I think the Zacian is faster than the Groudon. So I Sacred Sword the Incineroar because it has Flare Blitz. Most likely, well, it has Flare Blitz. We saw it earlier on the Weezing. So it's a 100% accurate move here. So I have to go for the Sacred Sword. It's also probably the move that can KO my Zacian. The Groudon, I don't think can knock out my Zacian with the burn. I'm just really worried about this end game because the Wildfire damage plus the Precipice Blades could still screw me over. We'll see if this is going to be the case, though, because... oh, this is really close, but... we do go for the Sacred Sword here. It's not Choppable Berry Incineroar, looks like, so I am able to get the KO onto the Incineroar. All right, Groudon, how much damage do you do with this Blades here? And if you connect, even. All right, you do connect. It's a single target Blades. It is burned, though, so we do survive. Okay. But the Wildfire is adding up. Oh, Does the Groudon have Protect? Because if the Groudon has Protect, this is the big moment right here. If it has Protect, the game is over. But if it doesn't, I do win. Let's see if the Groudon has Protect. It probably does, I'd imagine. Oh, it does not. Let's go, Zacian. Oh. I didn't think it was going to be the Assault's Groudon set on Lunadon. Well, I guess it wasn't Citrus Berry and not Leftovers. So it could have been White Herb, though, like White Herb Protect. but able to come out clean in this end game, even with the slight mess ups I think on my part. I think I would have probably been able to live the airstream as long as it wasn't Life Orb Charizard, even with the solar power. So I think at the end of the day, the Weezing play was... I don't think the Weezing play was it, although maybe it was. I don't know if my Blastoise in regular form would have been able to take it, or would have been able to take the airstream, which was like a big part of the end game plan, because the Blastoise Dynamax would have been over. I think the Canny was really important. Like, I really liked how I played the early turns of this game. I was able to get like a really strong position with my Blastoise and do like really well with burning the Groudon, getting the Canny damage residual wise. I think like the Groudon switch, yeah, was really smart for my opponent because they knew they needed Sun. I thought that they might have thought the Groudon was a bit dead weight and didn't want a second Incineroar, which is like really good to sweep under a Trick Room after they get rid of the Blastoise. But yeah, maybe I should have just went for the Canade there. If I was able to go for the Canade, I think I would have been in a fantastic spot right there and just protect the Weezing, I think, because I don't think I protected the Weezing the turn before, so I could just went for the Canade protect. And if I went for the Canade into the Incineroar, would have been a pretty good spot, I think, because the Lunala goes down and I basically think I'm in a pretty solid position where my Blastoise is still threatening and they can't get Sun Up unless they KO the Weezing and target with the Charizard, which means my Blastoise is still relatively healthy. So maybe the Hailstorm was a little bit of a greedy play. I don't think it was necessary. So I think that was one play that I probably could have done different. But oh, that was such a close end game. It really came down to the Charizard. But the wildfire damage, even with the airstream, oh boy, it would have came down to if my opponent hit 2 blades, I think, in the end game if they did go for the airstream instead. And I guess they wouldn't have had wildfire chips, so maybe Porygon could have lived the precipice blades afterwards. So maybe that was a different dynamic that could have happened as well. It was just like so many factors right there, and thankfully we were able to pull it off. And that is the show. Blastoise plus a Weezing, man, was not thinking that this combo was going to do this well, but yes, it really did. It had a lot of pressure against especially the Sun teams with the Groudon, like having the ability to shut down the Sun, the solar power, and you know, Zacian with Interpret Sword if we fought it was just really nice. So protecting the Blastoise, taking minimal damage while being able to fire off that Canade. And Blastoise doesn't really rely on its ability and it's generally bulky and can do a lot of damage with that Life Orb Canade. So if you did enjoy today's video, be sure to leave a like down below, leave a comment down below. It really does help me out. If you want to check out the details of the team, my recreation down below in the description, and go check out Javier on Twitter. I'll link it down below in the description as well. But you can check out the rest of my Series 12 content where there's a lot of cool teams and a lot of fun Pokemon. And that's going to be it for me. Have a great day, people. And until you bow again, I'll catch y'all later.